The Fugitive from the Future. Martinez Ortiz runs swiftly through alleys and lanes in the urban holes of downtown New York in a violent and destructive post-nuclear war future. Seeking to escape the monitoring ships and androids that surveil the area, he ends up taking refuge in a familiar underground hideout where through a secret passage he manages to evade all security cameras for yet another night. Martinez already has an extensive criminal record, considered a fugitive to be captured with priority by the OVNY department, object of violation by New York. His practices considered offenses or crimes range from invasion of properties and borders, theft, destruction of public property, fraud, and gang formation. Now he is hunted every day and every night to be arrested and finally judged. Without peace for even a day, Martinez lives fleeing and surviving with his family as best he can. Sometimes he takes refuge in completely obscure places and relies on the help of other criminals who are also in the same situation. Hunted to receive the ultimatum from OVNY, the fact is that they live this way because they still find resources, even in this manner, to maintain their lives in a post-apocalyptic environment where few regions with some structure remain, and New York is still one of those areas, highly sought after due to easier access. Attempting to prevent the increase of invasions and irregular humans, OVNY implemented policing through androids and various tracking machines, with the entire city practically monitored by cameras and radars, hunting down all illegal immigrants and people classified as wanted or who have committed any crime. Martinez, like many others, was on this list, with family and friends in hiding, always on the run, ending up having to stay in destroyed and very remote locations far from the most developed part of what remained of New York. Trips to the city center were always made at night in search of food and some path to possible reintegration since they were classified as outcasts and criminals. Every night Martinez searched for something to bring to his family and sometimes even encountered some of his irregular acquaintances in the city center. However, he learned that OVNY's policing was intensifying with a new tactic that was still unknown to all to neutralize immigrants and wanted individuals. He began to see his friends pass by him without recognizing him, ignoring him with indifference. One night while searching for food, Martinez came face to face with an acquaintance who was in the same situation as his. He was an immigrant who was always trying to evade local authorities and dodge androids and identification machines. Upon meeting him, he warned him, "Be careful, OVNY is using a new machine for illegal immigrants and criminals. They simply want to delete us." Terrified, Martinez saw his friend quickly walk away into the darkness and fade away from local monitoring amidst the people at night. Days later, he began to notice that some people seemed to be missing. He rarely saw some of his acquaintances and some only from a distance, unable to approach because they were in areas in downtown New York that were easily monitored. So Martinez continued without having any conversation with these people. But one day he ended up meeting the person who warned him and asked if there was any news, also mentioning the reduced contact with other immigrants. When he tried to converse, he noticed that his friend didn't respond, and minutes later, he simply pointed a finger at him and shouted, "Detected." Quickly, Martinez noticed androids moving in his direction from afar. His friend remained static, but he could see that he had betrayed him to the authorities, and now he had to run and hide among the buildings in the city's darkness. Hiding in a building in ruins, he noticed an android apprehending a criminal right on the street. Upon being discovered and immobilized, the man was arrested and a helmet was placed on his head where he remained for a few minutes, completely motionless. Martinez then realized that the person was being lobotomized. His memory completely erased, and from there he would act as an ally to OVNY's surveillance, no longer living as before. He was simply now a vegetative being, only to attract more irregular people like him and alert the androids who would come to his location for more arrests. Martinez understood that with this situation, he couldn't sustain his family. He would have to find another place, no matter how inhospitable, in another surviving city post-war. All night he crossed the city, fleeing from the androids, dodging cameras and radars, ending up in a deactivated subway. After much walking, he managed to find a route that led to his hideout. At that moment, he only cared about getting there and seeing his family again. He wanted to know how they were and try to escape quickly to another place, away from the city. Upon arriving at the location, he still saw ships monitoring his entrance. He had to wait for them to leave to finally reach his family. Upon entering, Martinez quickly explained what happened and urged them to pack their things and leave immediately. "They're hunting us in this area." His wife and son stared at him for a few seconds before giving a response. "Detected, illegal immigrant detected, proceed to the area, OVNY detected." Martinez only had time to retrace his steps and run as fast as possible. Terrified, while trying to escape another pursuit, he concluded that at that moment he had lost his family. His wife and son had been discovered, and now they would only be two more vegetative beings to monitor OVNY's fugitives. Wherever he went now would be seen by strangers who were inevitably already lobotomized and without memory. Exhausted, he arrived back at the subway station and collapsed, disheartened and in tears. He had lost the battle. And there was already someone waiting for him to keep him company and put an end to his escape.
Superfixer is a sci-fi short story channel serving as the catalyst for concepts about technology, science, the universe, and science fiction.